Hello, greetings. This is Gilles Mancion. I am called to come and speak about this process of ascension, this continuous. It's a self-development. We are asked to let go of all those things from the past, or this linear. We are moving to the quantum, and then we'll move into the photonic, into this glorious age of light and life that is before us. We'll understand that all the efforts that we're producing in order to become, to address our inner. All those inner things that are not so enjoyable to address will have great values. We'll see that all was worthwhile because we're going to find this point of liberation. So it is important to continue to cultivate, to listen, to pay attention to your inner self, to whatever's going on within. For the life, we've been told that life is an external thing, that we have to fight for all those things that we need. When in truth, it's life it's a radical understanding that life has to come through an inner transformation in order to create the outer transformation. I'm going to pull a few cards to see what the wisdom of the day. The wisdom for the day is the arts. For the arts was given to embellish the quality of our life. It may not seem to be something so essential. For essential is what air, water, shelter, many things that we feel are more essential than art. But art is the discovery of beauty, and the science is the discovery of truth, and philosophy is the discovery of goodness. So it is very important to cultivate those aspects of ourselves and to work to use the art to increase the quality of our life. For it shouldn't be too hard to understand. When we listen to a music that we like, it elevates our frequency. Or when we listen, sometimes I look at some of my paintings, they're like quite so mysterious. I can spend like hours looking at it and seeing like, wow, this like new discovery all the time. For there is to me, I see in my paintings, I'm the vessel that's creating it, but there is the light of God in it. For the light of God is in all things, but here it is encapsulated within a frequency, a vibration that is quite unique in relationship to what is going on in the world of art. And so it will be a great pleasure to introduce that into the world in the near future. What we need to understand, the same card as we had in the French reading, it's a figure of authority. We have to become a figure of authority over ourselves, for there is nothing to... For it is we are the God of ourselves. There is no we are just as intelligent, as wise as it may be difficult to understand, but we were created in the equal to God. So there is no God outside of us that is superior to us. I was contemplating this idea yesterday, and I said to my guides, well, I will always be an extension of God. God will always know more than I do. Will always keep that venture for me in the future. But because of our creative, how we were created with just as much responsibility over our own life that God has the responsibility of the whole universe. But it is our soul that minister, that our soul is our true soul, who we are, divine eternal beings of light and love that have chosen a path of evolution where we are able to learn different lessons and then and cultivate. For we have all the vices and all the virtues within ourselves. It is, if we deny those things, it will we cannot deny those things, otherwise they will surprise us, they will overtake us. So we have to accept that all is within ourselves, and so we have to become master of ourselves. And for that we just need to surrender, to accept ourselves just as we are, and then take on the small step that we are led to take. What we need to do is put an end to the war and the battle, the dichotomies. Let us just move into the one direction. Let us not fight ourselves. Let us not blame ourselves. Let us not judge ourselves for whatever, something that could be another highest integrity, or the highest, or even... those things, everybody made mistakes, so forgive yourself and forgive others, for there will be so much more. For even if love is not shared, if this love, for it is not easy to let people accept that there's a source of infinite love within themselves. We've been living in this dark shadow matrix, and to return to the inner love is very difficult. So we seek love outside of ourselves. And sometimes to teach us the lesson, we open our heart, we feel the love, but the person has the heart closed, so it does not reciprocate. So what we need to do is to accept, to let go, to become the orphan and to reconnect to that source, so we can then we can find the bride and groom, where there is this great relationship on the physical plane on the earth that is available for us. It is just a matter of allowing this inner alignment, and then the unfoldment will bring everything together in the most natural way. And the outcome is the Greco-Roman. We had the finance in the French reading for it. It is about power. It's about finding this inner power, this inner sense of self, this epsilon frequency, where we are, for the gods of Greco-Roman gods, were very advanced beings. They had much knowledge and wisdom, and so it's about reconnecting to those inner powers, the powers that are given through the planets of the astrology, for those who are attuned to those things. I was watching a TV show yesterday. It was about the art of being French. I thought it was complete nonsense, because the president used those words, those terms. He's a good with words, but sometimes we misuse the words for there is no art of being French, like the art of having a nose or ears. It's not because you have ears that you are an artist. It's because you are trained to listen to certain sounds that you cultivate. It's an education art. So there's a culture in all things, but the art is. For there is in France there is certain things that are we have a very rich culture. We have a really great, one of the greatest gastronomy for fashion. For there is all kinds of for the French. It's a very small country, but it's a powerful country nevertheless. And so we have to. And every country's got. It's not about being competition with each other. It's to understand the diversity and the significance of the complementarity of culture that will be able to blend, and each culture will be able to bring whatever the other culture needs to bring into the point of balance. For we do not understand the whole magnificence of the God's plan, for it is so big, it is so huge. We have to trust that it is. It's about self-discovery, about finding love in our heart, and completing the piece of the puzzle that we have for the life. Human life is like an equation. It's like a puzzle, and we need to resolve this mental, emotional, complete our piece of the puzzle, and then our puzzle will fit in anywhere you place it inside the great puzzle of creation. Once your own piece is complete, it will fit in with all the other pieces. For now, until it's not complete, it's hard to fit. We have a hard time to fit in our piece inside the puzzle. But trust the whole process. Trust your God self is emerging. So for there is no solution to the world's problems. They're so complicated without the assistance of God. For God knows all things, but this God is not an external force that has written books and things. It's an inner presence that's eternally in the here and now. We have to let go of this idea of past, present, future to move into the here and now in order to receive that. For I was watching Roland Garros, a tennis tournament. I used to play tennis. I hope I will return to it. But I was watching, and when you play tennis, you have to be really in the here and now. You can or driving Formula One or operating in surgery. Those people, those jobs, you're really learning to be in the present. You have no choice but to be in the present. And so tennis is a sport that will evolve with time, because as people's spiritual power grows, we'll be able to continue to play, but to use our powers to keep a ball inside the court, or to push it out if we need to with our mind. And so right now it's all about technique, and they're using a little bit of their psychic powers, but unconsciously. Soon there will be a conscious awakening, and then everybody will have different powers of the mind, but we do never want to use it against somebody. When you play tennis, you can use your power with the ball, but you cannot use the power with, you let the person you play against to play its own game. And so it's because those power will only come when we have the ethic to work for the highest good of all, and become benevolent, to become to be where we can no longer harm life, when we become benevolent, benign. So there is a tool that works really well. It works in hypnosis. For in hypnosis, we're releasing all control of the critical mind, and we let go, and we move into the acceptance of what the imagination will take us. But I'm not going to create a trance or anything, but I want you to imagine this button. It's like a button, and there is and it's about your frequency. So you never want to lower it, but you want to use that every day, a few times a day, to bring your frequency to a higher plane. You turn this button and you imagine that whatever you envision yourself as the highest frequency, and you turn it up, and you stay there, and for maybe 2-3 minutes. It will release chemicals, hormones that will bring a lot of good. And then eventually you will return to the middle ground, where your frequency is like in the middle ground. But always repeat this process for a few times a day to turn this button and raise your frequency For this is how we control our beings. We have to. We have to learn to control, to become a master of ourselves, to control our frequency, and sometimes it's just a matter of letting go and trusting the higher frequency and choosing the higher frequency over the lower frequency. For the archangels, the ascended masters, the angels, the galactics are all here in assistance. There's this invisible world, but we have to engage them in order for us to be able to engage us. There's the law of non-interference, the prime directive, the law of non-interference. Yet there is a divine intervention, so they have been given more leeway to interact with us, so it's easier than before. For when we are a child, we are always reconditioning. We are always very conscious of our inner transformation. All our life is created from those inner directives. But as we grow up, we learn to adapt within society. So it's about returning to this inner directive. It's not easy as an adult for many people who will not understand that you're responding to inner directive rather than what they're trying to push on you. So it's about turning to those inner directive, even if, like some people do in the outside world, they will eventually adapt and turn to their own inner directive when they see how wonderful it is to be following that inner directive. To become aware of the company of heaven is a two-way street. As you tune in to those frequencies are able to tune in to you. And because from the higher planes, all dimensions are equally precious. We feel like we're just a drop of water in this big ocean, and what's the meaning of a drop of water in a big ocean? But in a sense, it's very, very significant, very important. All those great beings of light are not here an assistant to us because they've been asked to do it, or because we need to be saved, or because our obligation of they're doing it because it's where the highest joy and passion to see this planet grow and evolve into a light beings will transform the whole star clouds of Nebadon, and the whole galaxy. Will turn into the Golden Rose galaxy, a galaxy that's fully in the fifth dimension. There will be no more points of darkness within the galaxy. For now, we have the mission is the Earth. It is not all the other darker point of the galaxy, but first we have to ascend the Earth, and then everything will follow. It will create a snowball effect in the galaxy that will ascend all kinds of other planets, for we are all connected on a deeper level, even if we're not aware of that. For we want to release our Godhead. We want to allow the God that is within ourselves to take the command. And for we have very little power as the individual ego, but when the God self is fully able to interact, magic can happen, miracle can take place, all kinds of things that are beyond our calculation, because we have to be trusting that, and this God self is fully aware of all things. There is no, it is where the solution lies, is to tune into that inner source, to that God, to that creator. From the higher plane, everything is one and the same. And the value of those in suffering is just as much as those who are in ecstasy. But for us, from the lower plane, we do want to ascend into the higher plane, because we know that there is more integration, and all source codes are guiding us towards evolution, expansion. It is not easy to understand that we're just as capable as God, and spirit, but we were created like that. I was watching. There was in Europe. We had this vote for the European. It's very funny that as the ecologists took more votes than the traditional right and left party. If we would have said that 30 years ago, we would have never guessed that the Green Party would be just as much vote in a national election as the Socialist and the Republican. For Europe, in essence, they do not have. They say that they have a hard time to affirm their position in relationship to China, in relationship to America, in relationship to the United States, in relationship to Russia. But Europe, they do not have the authority to do that. Why? Because they're not the leaders of Europe have not been elected. They just self-proclaim, and so they do not represent. They don't have the authority. If you live in a monarchy and you're born as a king, you have the authority by your birth to rule over the men. But if you're in a democracy, you are elected. You have the authority to rule over your country because you've been elected. You have the authority. But Europe does not have this authority just yet, and so they will not be able to solve our problems. But in every country, like France, for instance, they have the means by which to handle their relationship to all the other European countries, Russia, America, China, everything. We have the authority to regulate our own relationship, both diplomatically and commercially, with all those. But since Europe does not have it, is trying to fulfill that role and does not have the authority, it's creating all kinds of dysfunction because each country does not have the same need. So within a year, I'm going to be. I know within a year, about a year and a half, I'm going to be called to interact more with those sphere of reality. And so for today, the card of the day is the Ace of. I hope the idea resonate with you. For I do think that a lot of what I'm saying makes sense, even when it comes to the physical plane. But we have to trust that everything works as it should. When it's the time something happens that makes things change. For change is really what we want, but we want to change, but we do not want to let go of the past. We want to hold on to the past, and we want to change. For everything is one of the constant of the universe. Change will always be. There is nothing that only a God self will always remain stable. This is where we will need to find our security, find our well-being, find our source for all things within our life is from within, to re-establish this trust and connection, so that we can. It's a relation that we can rely on. God will never leave us, no matter what. And so the card of the day is the Ace of Gabriel: passion, opportunity, inspiration. Look, the occasion to do something marvelous is offering itself to you. Rejoice. So it's about accepting this new phase for this. It will happen for me. There's going to be great change. It's going to be happening in 2 phases. I know that this. So I hope this message was interesting for you. I thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Behind me is a portrait of Tali. Tali is a painting that came like that. It's a beautiful portrait. The more I look at it, the more I love it. She's like sometimes she through the eyes, she communicates with me. She's one of the 9 muses. The muses are the deposit. They are the guardians of the memory, of an old memory. They are the daughters of Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory, and Zeus. And they are the 9 muses. When they were in the Olympians, when they were there, everything was flowing, because before there used to be a lot of conflict among all those beings, those higher beings. They used to be in conflict, power conflict or whatever. But when the muses were there, everything was fine. They were like harmonization, and they're the guardians of memory. Tali is the muse of comic poetry, which is fun. I enjoy fun, so she can make me laugh. And so, but Tali is also one of the graces, one of the daughter of Eurynome and Zeus, and those 3 graces are also very present in my painting. So Tali may be I'm not really sure which one she is, but I'm developing this connection with this goddess. And behind me is a painting, is a scene. It's a very complex scene with all kinds of symbols. There is a checkboard here and a chessboard, and there is this salon with the 3. There's like many characters. There's so much going on. I'm going to change the color of the symbol here. I'm going to put it in red, and I'm going to do it in black with the 7 in yellow. Sometimes it takes me a very long time to see that there is like one more detail to do. I'm going to finish with a song. So it's a song, it's a romantic song, the Beatles. I love the Beatles were like part of my childhood, so I it goes like this. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll write home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips I am missing, and I hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll write home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll write home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Can't buy me love. Well, it's just. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Namaste.